about how oil, like how that's basically affecting where the food comes from and creating redundant systems. Even the way that our supply chain works is an engineering system. How you get your food every day to your table, whatever you eat, your cell phones that are ringing, all of that is an engineering problem. And that's something that all of you can solve. And I would say, you know, a lot of girls think, at least okay, let me not talk about you, let me talk about myself. You know, it's like, oh, can I do this? Is it something that I should be into? I don't have any role models, I don't have any of this. People who are, all the women that work at Tesla, all the people that I've seen in engineering, you're able to multitask, you're able to come up with really good ideas. You shouldn't be afraid of making mistakes. You should go out and explore the things that you don't know how to do and build them, because that's where great ideas come from. The point is not to solve problems that have already been solved, but to go solve new ones. So hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to you all later. My name is Izzy. I have a master's in electrical engineering and computer science, and a minor in biomedical stuff. And I had a great time learning, studying, and teaching engineering sciences, and would love to talk to you. Thanks.
Our next professional engineer is Catherine Kohler. Catherine Kohler graduated from Stanford University, and she's sending some Gunn future graduates later. She's got them working on themselves with Briones now. She has a mechanical engineering degree. She was an avid car racer and car driver in her teens. Catherine wanted to build on her interest in car design and development by pursuing an engineering degree. After college, she became interested in software engineering and working at a subsidiary of Snap-on Tools, developing their Snap-on engine scanner. She's now the managing engineer for digital media at Sport Vision, building consumer applications for NASCAR and other sports. I wish she brought some toys, but
wish I did too. I saw Catherine Kohler. When I was 16, I got a race car as my first car, which was my thinking my parents were trying to kill me. But my family has a long history of racing in Sebring, Florida, so they thought that I would get into it because I was the gearhead. And I loved it. It was a fantastic sport. And while I was racing, I also learned how to tech my car. I learned how to pull my engine, change my oil, change the filters, change the timing, everything. And I thought, whoa, this is amazing. I'm like the coolest chick at school. You know, people have a problem with their car, they come and ask me, you know, this thing can't start, don't tell anyone I'm asking, but what do I do? So I parlayed that into a degree. I went to Stanford and I studied mechanical engineering, thinking that I was going to grow up and design race cars. I ended up working at Snap-on doing their engine scanners, and while I was there I realized I kind of like computer science too. I had taken one computer science class as an undergrad, CS 106A, and I didn't even like it. It was like, computers are not going to take off. That might be dating myself a little bit, but I didn't even have a computer in college, which is just unheard of. So at Snap-on I started doing software development. I decided to get a job that was purely software development after that and not marry my hobby with my career, because things were starting to get a little old in that area. So I ended up at a financial research company, and I really concentrated on making up for all the things that I had learned in school. But you know, as you mentioned before, mechanical engineering is such a broad discipline that it teaches you how to solve problems and think about things critically and time box and put bounding rectangles on things. And software engineering, it's just learning another language and sort of applying that sort of engineering frame of mind. So now I work at Sport Vision, which some of you may know. We do the yellow line in football. So when you're watching football games, you're watching Andrew Luck, who's right over at Stanford on TV, and you see the augmented reality with the yellow line. That's my company. And what I do is I take all this sports data and I put it on consumer-based products, so phone, tablet, mobile, I just said, and internet. So my current application, I don't know if you have the picture that I sent you. Oh no, I'm sorry. Oh, that's okay. So my current application is we render a NASCAR race real time using Unity 3D gaming engine and telemetry. So we have these little boxes on the car that can detect position, GPS units coupled with IMU units that can detect the precision of the car down to about 2 centimeters at any given time during the race. And we take this data and we stream it through the interwebs, and it comes into, you know, some NASCAR fan on his couch sitting there with his computer and his Cheetos and his beer hat, and he can watch the race in real time virtually while he's watching the broadcast. And we're about 6 seconds off of live. We even beat broadcast sometimes. And NASCAR fans can get telemetry information. They can track their favorite driver because we're rendering the race in a virtual world. You know, a lot of you probably hung out in virtual worlds. Your parents have let you. Don't let them. They're evil. Then you can, change the camera angle. You can walk around the car. You can become a part of the experience. And that's really cool. I mean, anything you do, anything you can think of, basically, with computer science, you can build it. The tools are accelerating. They're really cool. We've got all this virtual stuff, 3D stuff. It's not just for gaming. It's for, sports. It's for my husband, who's a chemist. He uses 3D modeling to look at, molecules and figure out how things go together and to cure cancer. I mean, computers, very cool. So that's my spiel, and I'd love to talk to you guys afterward about any software-related or card questions you might have. Don't abuse it.
Our last professional engineer is a newly professional engineer. She graduated this spring, and I found out when she arrived that she also went to Gunn 2 years. So she was like coming home. Cynthia Diaz has a BS in biotechnology with a chemistry minor from Cal Poly. Cal State Polytechnic University, Pomona. Upon graduating from Cal Poly Pomona this past spring, she joined Conceptus as a full-time associate R&D engineer, where she had previously interned for the past 3 summers. She is currently working on the next generation of the Assure implant and is studying for the MCAT so she can pursue her interest in forensic pathology.
Do I follow this? Let's see. I'll just tell you how I ended up at Conceptus, where I currently am. Is this good? I feel like I need to be back. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. Let's see. I just graduated from Cal Poly Pomona, like she said. So I'm very new at this whole adult thing. And yeah, the funny days and everything. But I did go here for my first 2 years in high school. This is a great school. Is this good? Oh, thank you. And currently I'm working, I don't know if you've heard of the Assure, but it's a permanent birth control implant. And you don't have to get into that if you don't want to. But right now what I'm working on is just design development as well as test methods and validations and things like that. I work with other engineers, which I feel very fortunate because I didn't graduate as an engineer like so many of these people. But I am studying and taking courses to, get that whole. To me, engineering is really just applied science, and since I did graduate with biotechnology, my main focus was pathology and microbiology because I like using the microscope and I like things at the molecular level. Science has always really been a strong interest of mine, even in high school. So that's pretty much how I ended up being where I am now. Thank you.
Now, these 3 ladies dressed up in uniforms were with us last year, and they did such a phenomenal job. We wanted to have them back. They're all students at San Jose State University, and they're all members of the Formula SAE team. And I'm going to describe it just a little bit here. Formula SAE is a college design competition where students design, test, manufacture, and race a small-scale Formula race car from the ground up every year. Last year, San Jose State won 3rd place in fuel economy and placed 22nd internationally out of 120 teams at the Formula Michigan competition. In the same year, they placed 3rd in acceleration, 10th internationally out of 80 teams, and were the #1 school in the nation from California to Texas at the Formula West competition. So I'm going to introduce all 3 of them, and they brought some pictures, and they're going to, I hope, talk about the fun things they've been doing. So Simone Getty is in her 3rd year at San Jose State. She's majoring in mechanical engineering and plans on minoring in theater set design, This year, Simone is the team captain of the Formula SAE vehicle team and is a member of the Mechanical Engineering Honor Society of Phi Tau Sigma. She also participates in engineering outreach to high schools and middle schools, and we can vouch for that. Simone is currently a resident advisor at the San Jose State University dorms. In her spare time, she enjoys eating, being on an LGBT activist, writing, composing music, and playing with Legos. Connie Kruger is a student in mechanical engineering at San Jose State. She's the treasurer for the SAE forming team and a member of the Mechanical Engineering Society Pi Tau Sigma. And Natalia is a mechanical engineering major with design concentration at San Jose State. For the past 3 years, she's participated in the SAE organization. And last year, she designed the fuel tank for the FSAE car, and currently she's the vice president of the organization. So I'll flip through pictures.
Okay, so I guess I'll talk a little bit about why I wanted to become an. Does this work? I feel like it doesn't. Why I wanted to become a mechanical engineer, and the answer to that is I still don't There's really no knowing. I just kind of fell into it. When I was in high school, we didn't have any engineering classes like Project Lead the Way or whatever you guys have here. So I was really interested in music, writing, and I would just happen to be really good at math. So the thing about writing was that I would write and I would get scholarships just for creative writing, essays, whatever, nonfiction. But then I would never pass the AP test. Or with music, I would always get invited into jazz bands and stuff, but then I would always get yelled at in concert band because I couldn't sight read well. But with math and science, it's kind of that kind of thing doesn't happen. You do the math and you get the grade for it. So basically, what I'm kind of learning now with mechanical engineering is that for me it's just kind of another language for me to learn. I learned music at a young age and I started to innovate musically, have a band now. Or you learn English at a young age. That's pretty difficult. And you start writing and you come up with stories. That's a way for you to innovate through English. So I see me learning mechanical engineering as just another thing for me to learn so that I can just start to innovate and do my own thing once that's done with. Oh, and by the way, one of the people on the panel who's not here right now was talking about just because you're interested in science and engineering doesn't mean you have to choose one or the other. Well, one of the reasons why I'm doing theater set design is because recently I've learned about this thing called entertainment engineering, which is kind of a mix of theater, arts, and the math and the science. So that's kind of what Imagineers are, or people who create sets for movies and stuff like that. So if you guys are interested in that, that's kind of something I'm looking to do. So basically, this was my first project ever on the formula car 2 years ago. I went in, didn't know anything. I didn't even know that fiberglass was glass fibers. I didn't know anything. So they had me make a dashboard for the formula car, and then I was on the composite team, so that's the carbon fiber dashboard. And basically what happened was we were stressed for time, and they put me on this project, and I didn't know how to tack welds or anything like that. So I couldn't figure out how am I supposed to tack this, get this dashboard on the car. So what I did was I was out of town, so I didn't have any resources. I went to In-N-Out, I got a bunch of straws, and I made the chassis out of straws, and then I went to go, I got a bunch of cardboard from In-N-Out boxes, and I got some tape, and I was like, how can I get this dashboard on the car without tack welding? So I came up with a snap system, and it literally snapped onto the car, and it was pretty cool. And that was my first project, and then from there, we ended up using the snap system to get most of the body onto the car, and it proved to be really efficient because we were really stressed for time. So just it's kind of interesting because I also didn't have much experience in CADing, but I had to CAD this up before I was able to design it. So it's just interesting now how going from learning nothing, having nothing on my plate, just learning these basic manufacturing skills. So I'm just what I'm saying is I'm falling more in love with mechanical engineering as the years go by. I don't know what the next slide is. That's our car. I don't know if you guys have anything. I think there's another slide that might have, yeah, so this is kind of how we go about making the body of the car. Some schools get a bunch of one huge chunk of foam, and they have it CNC, but running our budget, we couldn't really do that. It's pretty expensive to get that done. So we CAD'd the design of the body up, and we took cross sections of the body and we printed those out and then put them on cardboard and stuck all the foam together, and then like from there sanded it down. That's kind of like how we make the body. But yeah, so I'll let Tanya talk now.
Hi, I'm Tanya Kruger, and I'm a junior at San Jose State in mechanical engineering. And really, in high school, I changed my mind every other week about what I wanted to do. It started off with being a lawyer, simply because I liked the movie Liar Liar when I was a kid. I was really good at English. I had magnificent grammar. All my English teachers told me, one day when you are an English teacher, you're going to come back and tell me. I wasn't skilled in math, but I really enjoyed science. And it's one of those things where I got physics. I chose to take physics because it was a challenge to me. And it got that love of just understanding the physical world around you, why things act the way they do while you're driving a car, while you're walking in your shoe, the way that the rubber bends around you. And it just led into also, I got my license when I was 16, and I always loved roller coasters. I just like to move fast. I actually didn't plan on going to college for a while. I wanted to go to the Air Force, and I wanted to be a fighter jet flyer. I didn't have 20/20 vision, so that was an option that was no longer available to me. So I'm a senior in high school. When my physics teacher said mechanical engineers are the ones that design roller coasters, I had no idea what mechanical engineering was, but I knew I wanted to design a roller coaster. Kind of just threw myself into it. I went to junior college. I struggled a little bit with calculus. It was definitely one of those hurdles where you have to really be passionate about what you're learning in order to get over those hurdles. I picked it because it was a challenge. I could have sat there and written essays. I could